Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Mr. M. You can just call me M. So for what prompted to this video about asteroid, so I recently saw this news about this asteroid. They name it XR2024R. So now it's already 2025, but yeah, it's quite of old news. This sparked my interest, so I am keen to find out more. I just want to share what I found so that everyone, perhaps some of you already know, so I just want to share what I have learned. Namely, things like what's exactly is an asteroid, what's a meteor, and where did it come from, then if there any famous impact nearer to our recorded history, and also in the case of an asteroid, is there anything we can do or how we can maximize our survivability? So that's now let me start for the first episode of the Inevitable series. But I think before we go into depth on asteroid, I think it's important to understand the different planetary bodies that are in our solar system. So asteroid is just a rocky body that's usually smaller than a planet that orbits the sun as well. From current understanding of how the solar system is formed, the asteroid is likely a leftover or remnants of. I think first we should understand the different names for the planetary bodies that are in our solar system. Of course, we know the planets, the sun, and the planets that's in our solar system. So for asteroid is a bit more interesting. So asteroid is basically a rocky body that is in our solar system that's orbiting the sun. So if this asteroid reaches Earth and it burns out in our atmosphere because of the tremendous friction it has when trying to get through the atmosphere, it heats up, it will become a streak of light, which becomes a meteor, which is what we see as a sort of a light show in the meteorites. And if the fragment of it hits the ground or it reaches the ground, we call it meteorite. So for comets, is different. It's more of a icy body that's made out of ice. So when it flies through, always you always usually have a tail that follows it, which is what differentiates it from an asteroid, because it's a chunk of ice that is slowly melting, leaving a tail. An asteroid will be just a rock hurtling through space. So I think the next question will be, where do those asteroids come from? So from our current understanding, it's likely a remains of a planet that was in between Mars and Jupiter that fails to form, resulting in a very big field of rocks that's just floating around between Jupiter and Mars. We name it, or rather, we call it the asteroid field. This is the closest asteroid belt that is within the solar system that is closest to Earth. One of the more impactful asteroid impact in recent history will be the Chelyabinsk meteor about 12 years ago in 15 February 2013. So at local time 9:20 a.m., local residents of Chelyabinsk witnessed something very few humans ever had: an asteroid exploding in the atmosphere, brightening the sky. So the Chelyabinsk meteor, so it approached at a speed, or rather it entered the atmosphere at a speed of 19 kilometers per second. So what's special about this meteor impact is that it was almost undetected until it entered the atmosphere, primarily because it approaches Earth in a direction that is very close to that of the sun. So the sun blinded, so basically we were blinded by the sun, so we wasn't able to detect it beforehand. I think this is not something everybody know, but every day Earth is bombarded with more than 100 tons of dust and sand-sized particles. So about once a year, a car-sized asteroid hits the Earth atmosphere, creating an impressive fireball, and usually it burns up before reaching the surface. So you have to be of a certain size before it hits the Earth's surface. But if there is so many asteroids hitting Earth, why aren't we more impacted or aware of more such cases of asteroid hitting Earth itself? Or in fact, actually, if you consider the amount of asteroids in the solar system alone, we should be hit more based on just probability. So the real question is, why aren't we hit more, and why aren't bigger particles hitting us more often? So before an asteroid can hit Earth, we have to go through 3 levels, also called 3 guardians in terms of playing games. They have to go through 3 levels of stages before they can enter Earth or reach Earth's surfaces. So stage number 1 will be the planet Jupiter. Because Jupiter itself is a very big planet. In fact, if Jupiter is any bigger than it currently is, it will have become the second star in our solar system. So imagine the very huge mass creating very strong gravity field that will attract asteroids heading towards Earth direction to either divert their courses or to attract those asteroids to hit Jupiter itself. In fact, the first time we observed a collision between two celestial bodies in the solar system was when Shoemaker Levy 9 comet collided into Jupiter over a series of days. So the fragments, over half a mile wide, about 800 meters, crashed into Jupiter's atmosphere for several days, creating huge dark scars and plumes, showing that sometimes Jupiter is a friend to our planet. Of course, it has its negative impact on Earth as well, but we'll keep that to another day. The next level that an asteroid have to pass through will be Earth's moon. So, as you can see from the surface of the moon itself, it has been constantly bombarded by asteroids, big or small. And because it doesn't have an atmosphere, so all asteroids will enter, or if it's on a path to moon, will get hit by the moon itself. Because the moon orbits around the Earth, so there's a chance that an asteroid originally heading towards Earth will get hit by the moon instead. So it serves as the second layer of, I guess, protection in this case. The last level of protection, level 3, will be Earth's atmosphere itself. So Earth's atmosphere is pretty thick by comparison to, for example, Mars one. So in order for any asteroid to pass through and reach Earth itself, it have to go through Earth's thick atmosphere. So by going through the atmosphere, a lot of friction will occur between the asteroid itself and the atmosphere. So most of the smaller asteroids are burned off before they have a chance to reach Earth, serving as a layer of protection. So in the case of 2024 YR4, the asteroid that was first mentioned in the video, so after more data come in and observation, NASA concluded that it poses no significant impact risk to Earth. So at this point, the percentage of it hitting Earth is almost close to zero. But it's important to also consider and think about what we can do if we really detect an asteroid heading towards Earth. So the more commonly strategy will be, depending on how early on the asteroid is discovered, if it's detected very early on, it's most commonly conceived of is to essentially disrupt or we deflect it away. So in the case of disrupting, we can always land a rocket or satellite on it, increasing the mass, changing the trajectory slightly. Perhaps that will be enough to make it miss Earth by a safe margin if we have a long enough lead time and long enough time for the satellite or rocket to fly there. Then secondly, I think the more exciting, more explosive solution will be to detonate bombs or send missiles to the asteroid, creating explosion in the hopes of deflecting it, or we could destroy it. But then destroying it could also pose additional challenges because it will not be vaporized. So it might end up in the case of instead of one big rock flying towards us, it becomes a lot of rock flying towards us. But although at smaller sizes, which could be burned off in the atmosphere, I think a lot of options will be possible only if we can detect those objects early, way to minimize damages to us or to ensure the species survival will be to go underground. But a lot of the underground city we found, but that might not be because of asteroid hitting Earth, could be used at sufficient height, at sufficient depth to prevent the damage climate impact it will have on us. As the asteroid hits the ground, it creates a lot of dust that might block off the sun for several years. So we have to be prepared for such scenarios, or at least we should plan for such scenarios. And if the asteroid hit water, then that will cause tsunami as well. So that is all I have found so far. A lot of interesting facts about underground city as well, which I can share next time if you have the chance. So once again, thank you for listening. I hope to see you again. Bye bye.